We played this game so you don't have to.
The perfect intro.
It's just the truth.
Welcome back to the 128KB podcast. We are back once again due to lack of popular demand.
Oh, yeah.
This is your weekly dose of all things gaming. And recently, it's just been a opportunity for us to get on a soapbox and rant about things that are bad about gaming.
Yeah.
Maybe that's what this is going to turn into.
Maybe, yeah.
We try things so you don't have to.
Exactly that.
And this week on We Try Awful Games,
Oh, my God.
one game that we crowned as our most anticipated release for 2023, only a couple of weeks ago, Gollum.
Oh, the Lord of the Rings Gollum.
To say disappointed
Facepalm.
would be to say that the Q light sounds like a good idea.
Yeah. I actually think the Q light sounds like a better idea than playing Gollum.
Okay, so it's finally been released, and
Has it? Has it been released?
in a state that feels like it is still like an alpha demo,
It feels
a
worse
play
than that.
test.
Feels this, and I did like a separate video about
Yeah.
this. And at the end, I said, this game feels like the kind of tech demo that you would present to the publisher as a games designer saying,
This is
have a
our
go on
idea."
this.
Yeah.
This is an idea, right? If you like it, we'll remake this from the ground up with a budget and actually people that know how to code games. Yeah. But no, that's what they've released to the public.
Bear in mind, this game has been delayed and delayed. And
It's had 2 years of delay.
I was just going to say, it's over.
Yeah.
I was going to say a
2021.
year, but yeah.
2021. It was announced to launch in
So-
2021.
How long has it been in development?
Probably about 2 days before they delayed it. And then they forgot to work on it.
Yeah.
So they released it. They went, oh yeah, we got this game. They're like, no, that's the tech demo. Yeah, that's fine. Let's release that. Some sucker will buy it. And that sucker was me.
There's so much. You did a really good video on 128KB channel where you unfortunately bought and played it for numerous hours. I don't know how you endured so much. There's so much wrong with it that it's hard to really comprehend how it's been released. You've got a Steam library. When I was working doing sound design in games, there were some of the smaller projects that would get released as like playtest demos on the Steam service.
Yeah.
And you'd get user feedback, and it was always really hypercritical. It feels like that.
Yes.
It looks like
Yep.
that.
Yep.
But for the PlayStation 3.
Yep. Yes. And anyone that knows Steam games, you get early access games on there.
Yes.
Which I always don't advocate, but you get early access games. So the whole point is, okay, this game's in development.
Yeah.
We can't afford to finish it.
Yes.
So buy it now and support us early, and we'll update the game, even though most games never leave early access.
No.
This game feels like a super duper rooper tuper early access. So like 5 steps before that, that's what this game is.
It kind of, on face value, reminds me of going back to the PlayStation 1.
Yes.
And there was some like playtest demos that you could get that would give you like, oh, here's like the open world in which this game's going to be set in, and just go around and you fall through the floor into oblivion and stuff, those kind of playtest demos. You're like, this is just weird.
Yeah.
It feels like they've done that, but done a full price release on it.
Yeah.
I worry for what's the French developer? Nacon.
That's how I say it. Yeah.
Nacon. Because we live in an age now where, and this didn't used to happen in the past, but developers' reputations now hangs over onto their future releases.
Yeah.
And gamers are more discerning. They talk about it more. People like us rant about stuff more.
Yeah.
And their next releases will be tainted by the massive failure that this game has been. I don't know what the sales figures have been. That might be their only saving grace.
5, and they all got refunded other than mine. And you know what we were saying about it, like overhanging?
Yeah.
And I've just lost my train of thought.
Okay, yeah. I mean, I suppose start from the beginning, and for those that haven't watched your video, which I thoroughly recommend you do, we'll link it at the end.
Yes.
the things that are wrong with it, Andy.
Yes. There's too many things that are wrong with it.
Graphically, it's a mess.
It's weird because when you start the game, you're like, okay, I get where they're going with this, you know, and there's like a little like CGI cutscene bit going on. You're like, yeah, it looks all right, actually. Like they've put effort into that first 5 seconds.
Yeah.
And you're like, yeah, this looks pretty good, you know? And then you kind of see Gollum come out and it freezes when he rolls out of the cutscene. So the game just froze for me.
Brilliant.
And I went, what's happened? And then all of a sudden he's there. And I was like, oh, okay, I think he was meant to like come into the scene, but no, he's just teleported because the game froze. Right. So the performance aspect of it is hideous, but the graphics are so weird because they've tried to go with this really cool, almost realistic-y kind of environmental thing.
This is the problem for me.
Which looks cool.
Yeah.
And some areas actually look quite good. Other areas look totally weird, but some areas look all right. And then the character models are like they've taken it from a PS3 game and then just dropped them in.
It's exactly that. Those mismatches are jarring to you as a player. Yeah. If the whole art direction for the game was a slightly cartoony character PS3
like 2004
vibe.
World of Warcraft aesthetic. Totally.
Exactly that.
Yeah.
Because that's what the characters look
yes.
like.
Yeah.
So if the world had that vibe, you'd be like, okay, this is what they've gone for.
Yeah, this is a choice.
I can settle into this.
Yes. Instead, they spend all that time making the environments and then went, oh yeah, we need characters. We need to play in this area. And they went, yeah, let's rip it from the old game.
They've got the weird goggly eyes.
It's worse than the old game, I actually have to say.
Yeah. And
the games that came out on like PS2 and stuff look better than this. Like, you know.
You sent me a meme this morning, actually, with the snake from like PS2 or something.
Yeah.
Metal Gear Solid Snake Eater or whatever it was.
Mm-hmm.
And it looks better than Gollum now.
Yeah. And I saw another one where it was Gollum from one of the previous Lord of the Rings games from like 10 years ago.
Like PS2 ones.
Looks much better. I think it was PS3, but
maybe.
And it looks way better than this. I mean, if anyone knows Shadow of Mordor, the game, which is a masterpiece game, and all those series of games, amazing. This is nothing like that.
No,
not at all. I mean, his Gollum, which is the main character, for Christ's sake.
It's in the title.
You know, he just looks random. Like his art style was out. But what the hell is going on with his face? Like, seriously, like his eyes are like all over the place. His facial animations, like it's like a badly dubbed movie.
Talking about him, I'm a big fan of his jagged green haircut.
Oh, yes. Yeah. Went into the cave right near the beginning. So this isn't like well far into the game where they might have missed it. They've clearly never tested this game.
That's where I was going to get to. Yeah.
You go into the cave, which is right at the beginning, like right at the beginning. I'm talking like 10 minutes into the game. And I walked in there and was like, why is his head glowing? And then when you look at it, you're like, oh, okay, great. His hair is entirely pixelated. And there's actually an option, because I play this on PC using a 3080 and it struggled, right? And
it shouldn't.
No, not with this game. And I was like, hang on, there's an option here, like hair strands. And I thought maybe it's a bug.
Yeah.
So I turned that off. Nothing changed. And his head glows and you can see the pixels that create. So he's got like a glowing pixelated halo crown on. And you're like, what? Like, it's just so weird. Like, the graphical style is just odd. And then the NPCs are just as bad.
Yeah.
And, like, their, like, hair goes all over the place. So, like, you'll be talking to someone and their hair will just start, like, lifting and stuff. And you're like, what's going on? Like, why is there a poltergeist here? Or you'll be talking to an NPC and they'll be talking with you, like, and their face will move and then they'll just go, and they're still talking to you like normal. And you're like, oh, you're just not moving your mouth now, yeah?
Okay,
like, it's
cool.
like, okay, great. And I love this bit where you're trying to escape, like, later on through this bit, and this guy's trying to help you. Right, and he goes, let me open this grate for you. And he stands still, doesn't even approach it, and then the grate opens. He's not pulled a lever. He's not done anything. He's just gone, let me open this. And then it's like, and you're like, if you could do that, why are you in the prison?
Just float out.
Yeah, but like, how can you open this grate? You're in a prison and you're just some old bloke that says that you've been there for ages. Do you know what I mean? Like, it just seemed really, really weird. Like, I don't get it.
Is there any redeeming features?
No, there's nothing. Like, the quests don't make any sense.
What about the premise of the game?
It doesn't even make any sense. Like,
it's savage.
It's
isn't it?
Gollum. Like, he's this uncapturable little weasel.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, and the whole point, and spoilers, maybe not spoilers, you kind of learn this in the first 5 minutes of the game, and I don't even recommend playing it anyway. But the whole point is, and they make a big deal of this, I was going to get to this later, but based on Tolkien's books, right?
Yeah.
Which we'll touch on in a minute. But so you're like, oh yeah, this is going to be good. They've got teams of writers. This is going to be referenced in the books, blah, blah, blah. Gandalf comes in, and he's just some random bloke that looks nothing like the movies, obviously, with a different voice actor, because I'm guessing copyright to the movies.
Yeah.
Right, so Gandalf comes in, and Gollum's in a prison cell. And basically Gandalf's trying to say, where have you been? How have you got here? Because he knows he's the ring bearer, of the One Ring. And he knows that Baggins is going to be...
Yeah.
He's got the ring. So the whole point is asking Gollum, have you told Sauron that Baggins has the ring? And he's all like, no, and you go backwards and forward, and you're kind of like progressing through this storyline to eventually tell Gandalf, okay, yeah, I was tortured by the ring wraiths, and... I told him that Baggins had it. So then Gandalf's like, so he knows, because now we're leading on to the Lord of the Rings story. So it's like a prequel-y kind of thing. But there's no kind of point of it. And you kind of play through this monologue where Gandalf's like asking you questions, and there's a bit of CGI going on, but then you're playing it. And there's this bit where you're getting chased by the ring wraiths. So you're like following a beetle or whatever. And then all of a sudden the ring wraith comes up. And instead of it being like this big dramatic thing, the music's just like not really like fussed. It drops down. It's really quiet. It's unmixed entirely. And it just doesn't make any sense. And there's no sound effects. And you're just kind of scrambling away. And it's all CGI. It's like a freaking movie that's done really badly. And then you have to play through this scene where you're going to get captured by the ring wraiths. This is right near the beginning.
Yeah.
And you go down into these mines. You've got no other way to go. And everywhere you go, and you can see it on the minimap that there's a ring wraith in every corridor. So there's nowhere for you to go. And you just basically have to sit there for 10 minutes whilst they take one step towards you each time. It's trying to make you feel like that you're going to get trapped and that there's a way out. But there's no way out because you can see on the map every route and there's one on each side. So you can't do anything. So you just stand there for like 10 minutes until these guys get to you. And I thought, oh, game over. I've missed something.
Yeah.
No, it just progressed the storyline and that's how you get captured. It's like you could have shown me this in a 10-second scene. I didn't have to play there and wait, like scratching my head, waiting to be captured. And now I'm in a prison simulation because you go into prison and you get given your number and you literally have to walk around day by day doing random prison jobs. And it's like, what? Like, this doesn't make any sense. But at the same time, there's platforming. So even though like you're in a prison and you're just kind of like doing random jobs, like there's like ledges and stuff to jump on. And people are like, wow, look at him go. And you're like, cool. Like, what? Like, what's the point? Like, yeah, he can climb stuff. Climb out. Yeah. Do you know what I mean? Like, don't give me that one ledge which is painted with a yellow line to say you can climb here.
But there was this one that gets me out of the prison.
Yeah.
No.
No, don't do that. It's just like, what? Like, it just doesn't make any sense. And like the quests are boring. So one, again, right near the beginning, you have to herd these like cattle things. And like, it's big dramatic thing. Like, don't get killed by it, lead them into this pen and trap them. You just walk into the pen, they run up to the wall, you climb the wall, and they just wait for you to close the gate. You can stand there for like an hour if you want, and they won't turn around and leave.
It feels like quests from like bad RPGs of
the 90s.
Of the 90s,
yeah. It is, yeah.
And normally pointless quests early on in the game are to teach you something about mechanics, get you better at the control schemes.
Not this.
But that clearly isn't.
And there's no point to it. It's not like you save these animals and they're going to help you later. You just capture them. And then it goes, okay, now do it again. And you do it again, but the other side of the map instead of there. And then once that's done, it goes, okay, go back and sleep in your cell. And what I really liked is the fact that there's load screens after every like 5 seconds that you walk, even though it's insanely linear and there's nothing really for it to load.
That's great.
Yeah. So I'm playing this on an NVMe, like a Gen 4 NVMe, right? So what, like 7,000 megabytes per second freaking read.
Yeah.
So this should be lightning fast.
Yeah.
No. So, playing it on an i9 processor with a 3080 and like the fastest drive.
It's just steamroller the game.
Yeah, there should be no loading screens. No. you hit a bit and it loads for 3 minutes maybe, and you're just like, right, okay. And the best bit was I went back to my cell and slept. I woke up. I'm now physically able to walk out of my cell. I walked to the door of the cell. Then the loading screen happened.
Oh my God.
Then it played a cutscene of the guys walking me out of the cell.
Even though you're already out of it.
Even though I'm out of it.
Brilliant.
Right? Just to put me back into where I'm going to get my job, which is like 5 steps around from my house, like my cell. So that cutscene ended, loading screen. I'm now there. And I turned around and went, I'm literally about 4 meters away from my front door and I had 3 loading screens. Why? Like, what is that? And then you get your job and then you have to go down in the cart. So you get the job, then as soon as you hit the cart, it's just a loading screen. It doesn't like take you down through the map and you're like, cool, look at all this. No. It just goes loading screen and then you're at like wherever you need to be. It is so weird. Like it's just
so bad.
It's possibly the worst game I've ever played. Like ever.
Wow.
I think I'd rather play like Ghostbusters on the NES than this.
That's a bad game.
Because at least that's funny. This isn't funny. This is depressing.
Yeah.
Because like, it's Lord of the Rings. And again, with the Tolkien estate would have had to have approved this. So they would have gone to them and been like, look, we want to use Lord of the Rings, one of the biggest franchises ever, like one of the best storylines. We're going to make this amazing game. You're going to get loads of money from it. Like, we're going to use your material. And they're probably like, yeah, and now look at this.
Here's my theory.
Yeah.
I think it was rushed out.
Yeah.
Because I believe that the licenses with Tolkien Estate, I'm thinking about the Amazon series.
Yes.
They bought the license to tell that story.
Yeah.
But they had a time limit on the license.
Right.
And they buy it. Tolkien's estate doesn't approve the final product.
They just give you a time
They
scale.
give you, time scale. And there's obviously assurances and stuff that happened before. That it has to be X, Y, and Z.
So they gave him 3 days. And this is what they came up with.
But think about the delays, and then it just suddenly dropped, didn't it?
Yeah, it went quiet.
Yeah.
Like nothing. And then all of a sudden, Nacon did their weird little game showcase thing and went, oh yeah, Gollum's coming out like next week. And it was like,
What?
Oh. Like we haven't seen this game in years.
Okay, cool.
Okay.
Were they coming up towards the end of their license in which they had to meet like you have to have production done by this point?
I reckon so. And I reckon they hadn't done anything. And that's why they just pushed it out.
Because they've come out and apologized, haven't they?
They were literally like the day after it came out, because everyone went, don't play this game.
Yeah.
It sucks. And they went, yeah, sorry, wasn't up to your expectation, but we're not done with Lord of the Rings yet.
I think you are, mate.
Yeah, you're not going
done.
to sell another game yet. Like, it's not going to happen. I would not buy another. To be honest, I don't even think I'd want to buy another Nacon game full stop after that.
And that's the problem now. Is that they previously developers didn't get hangover, but now they do. People remember the name of people make games now, and they didn't in the past. Think about games when we were younger. How many developers can you actually remember?
Yeah. We were saying this earlier.
Team 17. That's about it.
Yeah.
And I couldn't tell you who made the other games.
No, because at the time I didn't care. I just wanted to play the game that I thought looked cool.
Yeah.
I didn't like analyze it and go, oh, well, they made it. It's going to suck. I just went, oh, yeah, Crash Bandicoot or whatever.
Didn't think about who made the game.
Yeah, no, I didn't even care. I just went, that looks sick. Bought it, loved it. Like there was the odd one that was random and maybe a bit rubbish, but I didn't then pick it up and go, who made that? I'll avoid that.
Yeah.
Whereas now I'm like actively, I don't want, as a protest, I'm not buying another Nacon game,
totally.
which I might, but this is horrendous.
Yeah.
And if I had my credits, like if I worked on that game, I'd want my name scrubbed out of the credits. Because imagine going to work at a studio, right? And they're like, sick, what's your CV? Oh, you worked on Gollum.
That was the sound designer on Gollum.
Oh.
Oh.
And they're like, so you're rubbish then? Oh, well, no, I actually only did 1 day's work and they released it. Yeah, I don't believe you.
Yeah.
Sorry, find somewhere else.
And it's definitely rushed. And there is a sadness to it, because there's been a lot of people that would have worked really hard on it. And it would have
definitely.
it feels like it's none of the individual parts that are the problem. It's just how it was finally compiled. When you talked about the sound design issues, I can always pin what the issue is there. So you're talking about that there's a scene where you having to blow up some barrels or something to escape.
Yeah.
And there's no music or anything, so you're just doing it. It's kind of a casual experience. Oh, and then you finish, and then the tense music is triggered.
Yeah, it's like
And-
delayed. Yeah.
And you're like worried, what's going to happen here?
And then nothing.
Nothing. So it's delayed. And also where there's a balance level between like the cutscenes are really quiet, or there's no music, or the dialogue's the wrong volume, so you turn it up, and then you get into gameplay, it's different levels. They're just very basic programming issues. So,
but also they just feel like they just never finished it.
yeah,
Like,
and
yeah.
they would have been picked up in the alpha test stage. It's like, okay, the triggers are delayed. Need to set where the triggers are properly.
And I'm playing the game as intended. I'm not trying to break it.
No.
Do you know? It's not like I'm actively going, let's see how bad this is.
Yeah.
I'm just trying to
I'm going to climb up the wall
Yeah,
around this thing
exactly.
and see what if I...
Yes. I'm just trying to experience the game how anyone else would. And it feels like nobody tested this.
Yes.
Because if they did, they would have hit all of the things that I'm saying, because you cannot miss them.
Yeah.
And they would have gone, okay, if they'd had another 2 years or something, then maybe. But honestly, they needed to do a Metroid Prime 4 here and just cancel it and start again from the ground up.
Yeah.
Because it's terrible. Like, it's absolutely awful. And I don't even want to complete it. Like, after the however many hours I've played, I don't care.
Here's the
because,
gutting thing as well. You bought digital version, didn't you?
I know, yeah.
So you can't even like flog it.
No, I can't sell it or anything like that.
So you're
Sad
stuck
times.
with that.
Yeah. I can't even
Savage.
refund it. I know, it's terrible.
That's a problem with digital games, isn't it?
Yeah. Well, it's my fault. I bought it from a
Yeah.
different website other than
Different
directly on
website.
Directly on Steam. So
It's savage. It's disappointing. It's sad. It was one of our most anticipated games of the year.
yeah. But the thing was, is when we talked about it in that thing, if you remember, I said I've got a bit of a weird
You did say
feeling.
that, yeah.
It looks a little bit like a tech demo.
Yeah.
And that's the feeling I've always had of Gollum, but I wanted to give it the benefit of the doubt.
If it was a tech demo, the tech would never be released.
Yeah. It's just appalling. It's terrible. I had more to say about this, but I've just completely forgotten about it. There was something I wanted to bring up, but I can't remember.
Controls.
The controls suck. So
Yeah.
that's the other thing. It's not just it's the whole package of the game is broken.
Yeah.
Like utterly broken. Like the controls are just random. It doesn't make any sense. Even initially when I loaded the game up, I was like, oh, he's a bit twitchy. And I thought, well, he's meant to be this little like creepy crawly dude, like fair enough. But he kind of like skates on the spot and he's way too jagged. You can't like anticipate his speed or anything like that. And especially the jumping mechanic, which he's all about climbing. You've either got a long jump when you're running or like a normal jump, which is also random.
I had assumed it would have not quite as advanced, but it would have like a Mirror's Edge kind of parkour feel.
Yeah, where you could climb up anything or
Because
whatever.
that's what he is, isn't he?
Yeah,
and he's about stealth and evasion.
Yes.
And that's what I thought this whole game was going to be, stealth and evasion.
Oh, there's a really good bit that I've not talked about anywhere, where there's a stealth and evasion bit, right?
Yeah.
And you have to evade these orcs because you're
Okay.
creeping around where you shouldn't be.
Yeah.
And it is literally like Harry Potter PS1 game, where when you stand in the shadows, they can't see you. But the thing with this is the shadows aren't even dark. It's like just a slightly darker patch of ground. And there's an orc walking up and down.
Like next to you.
Yes. And you literally have to, if you're in the light, he'll see you. If you're in the shadow, which is still bright,
Yeah.
and I made the game darker, and it says like, can you see this thing in the middle?
Yeah.
I put it dark and it's still like so obvious that you're just stood there. But, you're just slightly in the shade. And the orc's like, can't see you. And it's like, you totally would see him, mate. I'm right next to your foot. Do you know what I mean? It's like, it was so bad. It's just terrible. The controls suck. The visuals suck. The audio sucks. The storyline doesn't make any sense. Like,
And it's not even clear what type of game it is.
no, they don't know what
Is
it's
it a
going to be.
platformer? Is it RPG? Is it a stealth game?
Prison sim.
Prison sim. And prison is supposed to be one of the most boring places you can go. So
Yes.
to simulate that is quite a
Well,
feat.
I saw this woman in a cage and I thought, I'll go talk to her because it said that I could talk to her. She went, why have you done this to me? And that was it. And I was like, I haven't done anything to you. I'm not a guard. Do you know what I mean? Like, I'm just some random person. And then Gollum kind of like says something and shuffles off. And you're like, so that was pointless. So talking to people doesn't help. They don't give you pointers. There's nothing to find. There's nothing like hidden like that you can like go pick up.
Do you know
like-
if the whole game takes place in the prison?
I'm no idea, and I would never
Not willing to find out.
But the premise of the story is he's still captured at the end, like because you're playing through this dialogue between Gandalf and Gollum, and he's already in a prison cell when Gandalf's talking to him, and now you're backtracking.
I see
how you went on your journey through Mordor, essentially, to wherever you've now been recaptured.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it doesn't make any sense. And it just doesn't seem like the choices that you get given don't have any consequences.
Yeah.
And when you are having this internal dialogue between Gollum and Smeagol, there's no weight behind it. It doesn't matter which one you choose. It's the same outcome.
Yeah.
It just doesn't make sense. And what I love is you get caught, right? And again, you just get picked up with no sound effects, no change in music, and a fist just comes to your head. And then the menu comes up going, you died. It's like,
you died.
What? Like there's no sound effect. You don't hear like a poof or like come here or whatever. Like sometimes the orcs will start talking as they grab you, be like, yeah, well, I'm gonna. You're dead screen. It's like, right? So there's no sound effect to say you'd caught me, but now you're going to start talking to me, but now I don't know what you're saying because the screen's just paused the game because I've died. Do you know what I mean?
Oh my God.
It's like, what? Like it just, there's so many issues with it. And the performance is terrible.
Yeah.
Like, it's, you've got visual artifacting going on. But like I said, I'm running this on a pretty freaking capable system. This should play any game, right? That's modern. And no.
It's
freezing,
like the complete
everything.
opposite of Zelda, isn't it?
Yes. Yeah.
Where that's gameplay over aesthetics.
Yeah. And it's a miracle how well that runs on such old hardware. And whereas I'm playing on pretty much top-end hardware. Okay, I've got a 3000 series GPU, not a 4000, but 3080 is still pretty freaking capable. Should be able to play 4K 60 at least, And yet no. And like I was saying, I've got really fast drives, so it's not like the loading screens should even happen, but they do.
Well, and it's not like these issues are exclusive to you.
No.
If you'd gone online and seen rave reviews, you go, "Oh, there's something up with how I've set this up."
Yeah. No. But there shouldn't even be loading screens because the areas are so small because you're literally in a prison. It's just like tiny little corridors. What's it loading? Is what I want to know.
It's a linear game.
Yeah. And that's why I'm saying it's like a PS2 game or whatever.
Where
because
you stop mid-corridor.
Yeah, it's got a... Remember, was it Half-Life 2 that we were playing?
Half-Life 2,
and every little area, you pause and then
quite
you load
quick as well, though, isn't it?
This black screens, it doesn't even pause you. It just black screens and then you end up somewhere else. And you're like, all right, cool. It's just... Man, it's just atrocious. I'd love... If someone's actually played through this game and got further than probably like 5 hours...
Yeah.
I'd love to hear how the game goes. I'm sure it gets worse, but
if anyone's out there that has persevered, let us know in the comments.
Because I'm not playing it again.
Yeah, I'd genuinely love to know. Does it get any better? And if anyone's maybe heard any whispers of like, are the developers looking to patch this up? It doesn't feel like it.
No,
they would have said so in their apology.
Yeah, they didn't really seem to.
We're going to be fixing it. We know there's problems.
They didn't go, okay, yeah, it sucks. Like Final Fantasy. What's the MMO? 14? Something like that? Yes. So when Final Fantasy 14 came out, there's actually multiple games. And bear in mind, these are MMOs.
Yeah.
So monstrously huge games.
Huge worlds, open worlds.
Hundreds of probably millions of dollars pumped into these games, right? And Final Fantasy 14 came out. Okay, this is a long time ago. And I bought it day one, got it. And everyone said it sucked. I liked it. I've played MMOs for freaking 20 years. I liked it. But everyone had real big hang-ups because they were hardcore Final Fantasy fans, whereas I wasn't. I was a casual Final Fantasy fan. They ground up, rebuilt the game, basically.
They did, yeah.
Same with Elder Scrolls Online.
Yes.
Elder Scrolls Online, bought it day one, still got the original box on PC when you actually bought PC games in a box. And got that, played it. I went, this is pretty cool.
I mean,
everyone rage quit.
The game we love to hate the most, and yet we've never played it. Cyberpunk is actually a really good example. It was broken.
Absolutely. And that's the real good example because it's so modern.
So modern. But they came out and said, we know it's broken, we're working to fix it. And slowly over time, they kept putting fixes to it until now where apparently it's actually a really great playable experience.
Exactly. So Cyberpunk, amazing. Elder Scrolls Online, you look at that, the player base is monstrously huge. I still dabble in that. It's brilliant.
Yeah.
That Final Fantasy game, I think it might even be the most like played or most active accounts,
most active MMO
on an MMO, beat out World of Warcraft. Like, you know,
that'd make sense.
Yeah, exactly. So these people have gone, we messed up. We'll fix it.
But they say it outright from the start.
Yeah, they went, we're going to do something about it. These guys went, yeah, sorry. We're going to make some more games, though.
Well, really
cheers,
not.
you've filled me with confidence.
No, you really
Bye.
Yeah.
Oh.
Well, I guess that's all we're ever going to say about this game.
Yeah, it's just,
It's
yeah,
never.
it's
It will. We'll
going to get
bring it up
rage
again.
fueled.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm sure. Well, it's a good benchmark because any game now is going to seem good. So
That's very true.
If you've got a game and you think it sucks, go play Gollum. Then you'll realize how good this game is that you've just got. So maybe everyone should buy this.
But buy it somewhere where you can get a refund.
Oh yeah, or get it like secondhand or something. I don't know, or just email them and go, you know, your game sucks. Do you want to just give it to me
Just
for free?
let me play it.
Yeah,
I'll tell you all the things that are broken.
So get that game, and then whenever someone says, yeah, this game really sucks, go have a go on this.
Yeah, not as bad as this.
Yeah.
Yes. Well, thank you for getting to us in the deep end. And if you are here with us still, make sure you rate the podcast wherever you find it. Massively helps what we do. And if you're on YouTube, of course, you know what to do. There's buttons below. The big red subscribe one is the best.
Oh, yes.
And if you're really curious and you want to see Andy's video about Gollum, it's right there. It's actually really good. It's quite funny.
You can see examples of the gameplay and stuff.
Yeah,
and
it's
all
really
that in
good.
there.
And if you want to see more podcasts from us, then there's this video right here.
Yeah.
You know, make sure you watch it. And of course, until the next time, we'll see you next time.
Bye.